I don't season my food. I don't eat spices. I don't eat salt. I don't eat sweeteners or anything like that. I just eat plain old meat. Now, if you've seen the title of this video, chances are it's like why I don't eat salt on carnivore, like why I don't season or spice my food. I eat a ketogenic carnivore diet, just to get that out there. I eat a ketogenic carnivore diet, meaning I only eat meat and eggs, and that's about it. I drink water. I don't drink any sweetened beverages. I rarely drink bone broth. I rarely eat anything else other than meat and eggs and, a variety of those things like pork, chicken, beef, some lamb here and there, fish on occasion. That's about the extent of my diet. And, some people will say that's really, really boring. That's really, really strict. That's really, really, well, yeah, strict, restrictive. It's like, what? How do you do that? And it's actually pretty simple. And that's exactly why, is because it's simple. There's also a couple other reasons why I don't spice my food. And I'll get into that in this video. So, yeah. If you don't know me, my name is Keegan. I talk about ketogenic carnivore diets, why you should get on them, and I help people improve their health and their fitness. So, if that sounds interesting to you, subscribe, do that stuff. But in this video, I'm just going to talk about why I don't salt my food, particularly on carnivore, and why broadly I don't season my foods anymore. Because I used to be a pretty big spice guy, to be honest. Like I used to like a lot of like chili and like cumin and what was it? I like salt and pepper, and I just like seasoning my food. Like chili powder, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, all the spices, right? And inherently, like if you are on a carnivore diet and or you're just doing more whole foods, like go ahead and spice it up. Like I don't really care. You do you. If it helps you stay on that diet, it makes it taste better, by all means, keep going. The reason why I personally don't do it is for a couple of reasons. One, it's just complicated to spice stuff. I don't want to have to, especially if I'm out traveling somewhere or I'm just busy, right? I don't want to have to figure out, oh, how am I gonna spice this? Like I don't have to buy those like weird like spice packets and put it on my ground beef to make some like taco bowl or whatever. Like I'll just eat the ground beef as is. Like I'll eat plain ground beef. It's fine. Not that deep. But beyond the simplicity of it, I guess there's a couple reasons why I personally don't do it. And that's because there is certain defense compounds in spices, in plants in general, as a broad category of living beings. Plants have defense chemicals in them. And there's a reason why the spices taste the way that they do. It's a signal from that plant telling your tongue, hey, bro, don't eat me. I do not want to be eaten. I am toxic. And your tongue reads that as, "Ooh, this is hot," or "Ooh, this is bitter," or it reads it as some strange umami flavor, right? Some stimulating flavor. And us humans were weird enough to be like, "Oh yeah, that's great." And you know, I mean, sure, like if you like the taste of that spice, go ahead. Just understand that maybe it isn't the best for your body. Maybe it's causing some low grade inflammation. Like there's some people who are very sensitive who have autoimmune conditions that can't do spices. Because if they spice their food and they increase that inflammation by just a little bit, they get like a flare up of whatever it is. Like IBS or freaking, what was it, like eczema or what's it, MS, like multiple sclerosis, ugh, blah, 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 or Hashimoto's, like the thyroid disease, right? Like there's a bunch of autoimmune diseases that are kind of like these, like the most sensitive people, and it causes harm to them to consume spices. So, and I think I have a slightly contrarian view to this because some people will say, oh, it's maybe the most sensitive people shouldn't have that. Maybe they should be more strict. But us, we'll be fine. Maybe we can just handle it a little bit better. Does that mean that it's better for us though? No. It just means that we can handle a little bit more toxic load. But does that mean we will be inherently healthier because of it? No. It just means that we aren't as sensitive. It means that it won't affect us as deeply or as dramatically, but it still affects us. And that's, I would say, even more insidious because then that slow creep, it builds on you. Does that make sense? That toxic load slowly builds over time. Now, is spicing your food going to kill you faster? Probably not. Okay. I'm just like, if you, like I said, if you want to spice your foods, bro, go ahead. I do not care. Right. I just understand that, like, and this is my goal with my content really, is I just want you to understand that these things have effects. There's consequences to your actions. Right. I'm sure there's some consequence to eating more meat and eggs, right? Who knows what that could be? I think it's probably going to be better health and a longer life, but I could be wrong. Who knows? It's the best I've ever felt. Anyways, just keep that in mind, okay? Just whenever I tell you about these things, I'm not trying to fearmonger or anything like that. I just want you to be aware that these things might cause some low grade inflammation, right? But if you like the taste of spicy stuff, then more than you care to lower inflammation or anything like that, then go ahead. Like I honestly like I don't freight if I eat spices anymore. Like sometimes like before I was a little bit more strict, but now I'm kind of like, okay, I'll avoid them, but if they're in my food, it is what it is. Right? Like I don't stress about like I need to remove every last ounce of this spice. It's like if it happens, it happens. You know what I mean? I just want you to, like, I'm just aware of it. And that's why I just tend to not try and spice my foods. Because it's simple. There's defense chemicals in them. I mean, if you look at there's ingredients list on spices. It's not just, like black peppercorn sometimes. Or like paprika. It's like paprika and then some like silicon dioxide or some shit. It's like, why is that even in there? Why is it not just paprika? And so it's like some of this stuff, it's like I don't even want to add like a bazillion ingredients on top of my food, anyways, because there's like weird crap in the spice mix. So that's another reason why is like I just, I mean, it kind of blends into that. I just want to keep it simple, okay? Don't spice my food. I think that kind of covers it. It's like like the reason why I don't season or spice my food is I just want to keep it simple, and I'm aware that there could be some consequences to eating spices, and I also just don't react well to some spices. Um, I've had this personal experience happen a couple times where we've had, I believe it's called corned beef. It's this like Irish esque dish, I believe, where they marinate something like a beef brisket in water and certain spices, water, salt, and certain spices for a time. And it becomes this corned beef because the spices and the water and the salt, it brines it and it absorbs some of like the characteristics of that spice, right? So there's stuff like I believe it's like coriander seed or I think that's what it is, coriander seed, mustard seed, whatever it is. I have had corned beef in the past without the seeds on it, and I've had this like weird reaction where I get really puffy, my face gets red, and I start sweating. And I was able to really notice it this last time that I had it. I think it was during St. Patrick's Day. And I just didn't like feeling like that. You know what I mean? Like it's weird to just be hot after eating something. Like I didn't even eat that much of it. And I was like my face was all red. I was hot. My face started like getting a little bit puffier. I was like watery. I just felt worse. And so if there's certain spices that do that to you and you're aware of it, then just avoid them. If they make your life quality worse, it's not worth the flavor, in my opinion. And a similar thing sort of happens to me with garlic as well, where maybe I don't get necessarily inflamed, but it just like I fart like a mofo, bro. It's crazy. Like I remember I had some like garlic powder on this one thing, on this one dish. I can't remember what exactly it was. Probably like a pork loin or something like that. Whatever, you know, whatever meal of the day, there was like a little bit of garlic powder on it. I ate that thing and it was just like I could hear it in my gut, just like "Brr, brr," and I was just gassy and burpy. And I like the taste of garlic. I'll be completely honest, but I don't like the farts. I don't like the burps that follow for the next like 2 days afterwards because my body's like, what have you done? Why did you consume this? It's like that's your body actively rejecting it. It's trying to burp it out, trying to like or it's just fermenting weird stuff in there that you can't actually digest. And so that's why you're creating the gas. But yeah, I mean, overall, I just find it's just better to not spice my foods just as a fundamental basis. I might go back to do it eventually, but as it stands now, that's why I don't season or spice my foods. Hopefully, if someone in my life is watching this, that has answered your questions because I get that a lot sometimes whenever I talk about what I eat. People I interact with are like, "Wait, what? You don't even spice your meat? What?" Like they're just fucking confused, bro. And here's the thing for if you've made it this far, you're probably interested. If you've been doing carnivore for a while, maybe you're still salting your food and keep doing it if it's working for you. I've personally stopped salting my food for a couple of reasons. This kind of goes along the lines of the seasoning. It's just simpler. Like literally, I made a pork roast today. I didn't even have to salt it, dude. All I did was I unpackaged it because I had it stored in the freezer. Right, I vacuum sealed it. I opened that thing up. I dried it off so it didn't have any like weird myoglobin stuff on it. I stuck it in the crock pot. I think I scored the fat cap a little bit just so it would render a little bit better, maybe get a little bit crispier. And then I put it, and I set the crock pot. That was it. I didn't have to salt it. I didn't have to do anything. I only touched it for like 20 seconds, bro. It just makes it ever so simpler. Now, if you want to add salt to enhance the flavor, go ahead. Just me personally, I've always found it difficult to kind of like figure out how much salt is the right amount of salt for me because a lot of times I'll just go ham or I won't do enough. And then the salt kind of like electrolyte balance in my body gets all out of whack. And so sometimes I'll have a ton of water weight extra because I've consumed a ton of salt. And then other times I'll be extra dehydrated because my body's been used to me eating a bunch of salt. And so it dumps more out. But then I'm not consuming enough. And then I get cramps and I just start messing myself up because I'm messing with the amount of salt that I eat. So the solution to that, for me anyways, was just to stop eating salt because it's not necessary. After a certain amount of time, after you're adapted to carnivore and your body isn't dumping electrolytes like crazy, you're good. You don't really need to salt your food that much anymore. And I find that it actually helps me find out what the actual taste of the meat is. And yes, salt is a flavor enhancer. Like it will increase the flavor, like it'll bring out the flavor of the pork or the beef or the whatever. And that's not bad on occasion for sure. But I just find that just the meat by itself, if I just have that, I can tell a little bit better how much should I actually be consuming. Because advice that I've received is to eat meat until it stops tasting good. But whenever I salt it personally, I just find that it's harder to do that. It's harder to find out when it actually stops tasting good. And so I just tend to not salt anymore because it just makes it easier. And I also just ran out of salt. Like we have like pink Himalayan salt, but I actually really liked that I had some like Malden salt in like the tub that I got for Christmas, I think. And I was using that for a while, but then I ran out, so I was just like, okay, I just won't use salt anymore. I mean, it's just pretty simple. And I think that's really it, honestly, is like that's why I don't salt my foods anymore. It's like I just don't think it's necessary. I might try and add stuff back in because I want to experiment and just see what's up. But I just don't think it's really necessary. And if you don't want salt on your food, it's not necessary to add salt after you adapt. And so that's kind of why I just do like a basic meat only thing, bro. It sounds like really boring and like strict. And maybe it is, but it's what's been working for me and I enjoy it. I might add some salt back, who knows? I might add spices back eventually. Hell, I might even add carbs back at some point just to see what's up. I might even add fiber back. Oh my god, even though it's not an essential nutrient. But yeah, it's just because I'm open to experimentation and seeing what I like and what I don't like. Yeah. So I guess at the baseline, don't be scared to remove the spices and the seasonings. They're really not that much more. If you can't let go of them and you need them to stay on track, especially with something like carnivore, keep them in. But I found that you get the most kind of benefit, the most kind of like de-stress and the least worry about it whenever you just remove everything. Just keep it like really simple and basic. You don't have to worry about how much salt you're consuming. You don't have to worry about salting to taste or anything like that. You just eat the meat, or you eat the eggs. And there's still other ways to kind of change up the flavor. You can do different textures. You can cook it in a different way. You can use butter. I mean, butter is just like insane, dude. I don't even use salted butter anymore. I use unsalted. But holy crap, dude, that is like a game changer for the enhancement of flavor. It's insane. Like I used to not like unsalted butter, but now I really do. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, just give it a shot. Just if you already on carnivore, try it. Try it with no salt. Try it with no spices, with no seasonings, and see how it goes. At first, it might be a little bland, but then you acclimate. You get used to it, and then anything that does come into your palate is like, oh, this is extra, like this is spicy, or this is nice because your body gets used to that new baseline. And so maybe whenever I introduce the spices, maybe whenever I introduce hell, even the carbs, my body's gonna be like, whoa. And so I won't even need to go as high as I did before to get the same amount of enjoyment or the same pleasure. I don't know. It's an interesting experiment to run. But yeah, that's why I don't eat salt on the carnivore diet. That's why I don't salt, spice, season my foods anymore. And yeah, so I hope you learned something from this. Hopefully you were inspired to maybe try something out. Yeah, that's just me yapping, really. If you like what I'm saying, go subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.